aspects in the lease to include conflicts between tenants, informing them that they could not get into that business. It was beyond the scope of what we anticipated they would do under the terms of their lease.
Use of premises, that means their premises where Garza is located, that correct?
It does.
Okay, so
it also, there's
anywhere on the airfield that they're needed?
There also is a good question. I don't have the specific answer to that, but I can tell you that somewhere in the lease there's a phrase that says use of premises in this regard means the entire airport as well.
But could I ask Willinger a question just about the service?
Sure.
If there's a plane that happens to come in and unfortunately they land you're up, what do we do? I've heard a lot of different answers. What do we do? You're a full service FBO.
Well,
what do you do to
let me answer that, because that's written into the lease and in the minimum standards. Our full service FBO has a requirement to maintain the capability to remove aircraft up to 12,500 pounds from the runway. That's right. Anything over that, we turn it over to the military. And so their requirement is to go out and get the airplane, remove it from the runway, and after that it's the problem of the aircraft owner.
And we have the capability to do that.
I hope so.
Yes. We have done it.
I mean, you have to know that.
Yes. So anyway, after speaking with Garza Aviation, it was their decision to continue the ground services, after which we issued them a notice of default, letting them know that this is not in compliance with your lease, all the specifics about it, and what they had to do to cure that default. So the question is, now what happens? Our lease specifies that they have a 30-day cure period. To cure the default, Garza Aviation must stop all the ground handling services. They need to make a good faith effort and resolve the dispute with other tenants, including potential damages to Millionaire for the business that they've taken from them. Also, in the lease, there is a clause here under Exhibit E that if they change the use of their premises, that will be considered by the authority to return to a normal business model and a departure from the incubation model. We have notified them that this is outside the incubator concept, and therefore we have increased their rate to the fair market value. At this point in time, Garza Aviation has been non-responsive to our request that they stop, and it's been a difficult situation. Now, as best I can determine, their argument is what they're providing is quote, aircraft maintenance. Based on my research, I have to say that is not supported by my research into the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 14, Part 129, which talks about airline operations, 43, which talks about aircraft maintenance, and 145, which talks about a certificated maintenance unit. Also, it's contrary to their lease and to the minimum standards. Now, we don't know where this is going to go, but what we have done, working with Junior, we moved $100,000 into our legal expense account. I want to add to that, this is to cover temporary expenses. We have landlord insurance, obviously. Our landlord insurance covers legal expenses like this on a reimbursable basis. So if this does result in a lengthy legal action, obviously it would be expensive for Garza Aviation, but not for us, other than those temporary expenses. So, yes.
Do you have any idea what they were charging, what Garza was charging versus what Millionaire was charging?
I don't know the answer to that.
Mr. Williams, this is Albert Gardner.
Yes, sir.
Do you know if in the process of the things that Garza Aviation has done, if they provided any maintenance services that required them to sign off the maintenance, or are they just doing ground handling that does not require maintenance sign-off to CSI?
In my original conversation with the owner of Garza Aviation, I expressed to him, anytime CSI has a maintenance requirement, that he is certainly welcome to fulfill that maintenance requirement. That's what he's here on the airport for. But if it, on any given flight, the ground handling services is not within his purview. I do not know if there have been maintenance discrepancies on the CSI aircraft that have come in.
Well, as I understand it, what we wanted Garza Aviation to do originally was provide the kind of maintenance that would require a sign-off. And there may have been ancillary items involved that didn't, but I think that was our whole idea, was that to have a maintenance provider to do those things that required maintenance sign-offs.
Yes, that is.
And if they're not doing that, it appears that is kind of outside the scope of their lease.
Yes, that's correct.
Anyway, let's go ahead.
So anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you bet. So the next step is we're providing Garza time to cure their default. Their rent, as I say, has been increased to fair market value. Now, because of that, they are delinquent in their rent to the airport, and they will soon be in default again on their lease for non-payment of rent. Now, so that's a lot of the bad news. The good news is if Garza Aviation stops providing ground handling services, this can all go away. That is our goal. Our desire is to go back to normal operations. We still want Garza Aviation on the airport providing airport maintenance. That was our desire from the get-go, and it remains our desire. If that happens today, the airport would be willing to reinstate their incubator rate. Yes, sir.
Previously, Millionaire was doing this process. What were they charging to do that?
I don't know the answer to that. I try not to get into our tenants' business and ask them what they charge for this.
Fair market value for that?
I would say fair market value. I would say that I am aware that Millionaire services CSI aircraft at other airports around the country. They have standard rates that they charge. And when a government contract goes out to bid, the people who are bidding on that contract will contact the local FBOs to get pricing. By law, Millionaire cannot provide a favorable rates to one person or another. They have to give, this is our standard rate, and that's what the bidders on the government contract then have to take, to bid on the contract with the government.
So, to our knowledge, they were charging what they charge at other airports?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. So anyway, so this is where, oh, sorry.
What is the contractual time?
30 days. 30 days. That 30 days expires on August the 22nd. So, we have some options now that we need to talk about as far as our strategy moving forward. My recommendation is we hold off on that and go into executive session to discuss that. Any questions?
Just reiterate what you would hope to have happen.
Yeah, our goal absolutely is to resolve this and have Garza Aviation go back to providing maintenance as they previously were. I felt they were a valuable tenant, and I'd like to get back into that.
If that's the case, if they say like today or tomorrow, will they still have to pay that $6,000 that you?
No, right there, I make the comment, if this happens today, we will be more than happy to reinstate their incubator rate.
But you'll charge that off that you've already charged
right.
against their account? Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Just a couple of observations. One, I see the emails from Garza's managing member. I don't see your emails.
Well, let's wait and we'll discuss it.
Well,
I've sent 3 emails.
okay, I just want to make sure that this is properly contextualized.
Okay.
And whether we discuss those emails in open session or in executive
Well,
session.
good question.
I still want to see the emails.
Okay, Janine wrote me and asked me that specific question, and I responded to you.
I received it.
And I can print that out for you here real quickly if you'd like that.
The next observation is, and it just, I don't know if it's style or what, but there's some editorialization in here that makes me just nervous.
Okay?
If you'll go back one slide. Any legal, or any lengthy legal action will be expensive to Garza, but not for us. That may or may not be true, but it's the kind of editorialization that makes it appear to me that we're not interested in working on it. We're throwing down a gauntlet, and
Well,
that makes it hard to have conversations afterwards.
Fair point, that is certainly not my intent. I have in fact spoken to Mr. Garza and let him know that I'm available to speak with him at any time.
Okay. On the next slide, going forward, not back. If this happens today, does that mean by midnight tonight, or does that mean tomorrow, next week, or after we have some kind of conversation?
We sent a letter to Garza Aviation within the past few days. Specifying today as kind of a drop dead date on the incubator rate.
I'm just of the mind that without the board knowing more about this, setting a deadline on the same day that we're having a meeting is just not quite as flexible as I believe we need to be.
Okay? Any other questions?
I guess I kind of go along with that comment. You give them a period to cure. You gave them a contract period to cure up front. Any other deadlines prior to the period to cure is probably not kosher.
Fair point. Let's bring that up in executive session.
No matter what we do, we have two very important FBOs on the field. And Millionaire and Garza, very important. They're very important to each other.
Yeah.
One has to recommend the other for certain services,